In Sudan, um, thousands of Christian families are fleeing the country to a neighboring country, I guess it's Chad. And they're fleeing because the Muslims have decided to kill them. What? Yes. It goes back a couple decades. Then president of the country was the Chinese wanted to get the oil in the Sudan. What do you mean? Well, they want to get North Sudan and South Sudan and to get the oil. And one of the things they did was put in roadways. Yeah, they brought in Chinese laborers. They put in roadways. They built the presidential palace for the president of the country. They built an arms factory, or maybe two of them. And they didn't care getting involved in politics. The Muslims to the north went to the south, and they killed as many people they could so they could take the land. Okay. Well, this summer, one of the tribes in the military took over the country and started a civil war and backed the guerrillas who seemed to have gotten guns from somewhere, either Russia and China. And the Chinese have no problem supplying them with guns because they know what their object is. They're going to buy the oil from the Sudan. They're going to make a lot of generals very, very rich at the expense of everyone else. So, well, this way, anything that's destroyed in the capital cities and that, the Chinese are going to come in there and build it again, put in more roads, maybe put a railroad in, and pipeline to the ocean so they can buy the oil. Yeah, you know how it is. And the big crisis is a couple million, the thousands of families fled the country, and they're starving. But they're only Christians, so. Well, yeah, you gotta remember, it's a religious war. Muslims against Christians, and the Muslims are heavily armed, and the Christians aren't. So, the Muslim government will come in there and kill the Christians. That's religious warfare for you. Of course, they most likely will have help from Russia. Russia guns? Yeah, I think they're going to be Russia sending in guns. Yeah, you know. What's going to happen to the people? They're starving. They're starving. And they expect to be fed, which is another problem. In Afghanistan, some woman said, "How am I going to feed my 11 children?" Don't you miss the United States? When the United States in there, the population was being fed by non-government organizations, and they were getting millions of pounds of free food, usually at the U.S. taxpayers' expense. There was very little you can export from China outside of opium, which the Taliban took advantage of. Even though they disapprove of opium, they took advantage of that, and they made a lot of money. And of course, the Chinese supplied the Taliban with weapons. Hey, those Chinese dealers, they deal in anything. But, so, what's going to happen? One of the warlords, the generals in Sudan, will win, and the Chinese can go back buying oil from Sudan.